Scott Holiday here, and welcome back to Plus 2 Wrestling. It's been a while, but it is great to be back here with you here on YouTube. Things went wrong with the channel for a bit. I've lost my tie entirely. I don't know where it is, but we're sticking with this look for now. And I wanted to do another Tournament of Death vlog video. Last year I did one just telling the tale of what happened with me at Tournament of Death, and I wanted to do that again this year. I will now show you all of the footage I got for that video.
And this is Plus 2 Wrestling. I am on the road to, as I cover my own camera, I am on the road to TOD right now. I'm running late. My stomach is sick, so I'm way behind. I've got my usual breakfast with me when it's wrestling day, which is a Wawa pretzel, a Wawa coffee, and a Wawa smoothie, which back in the day I used to call a Chikara special. But I am hoping to survive TOD this year because my stomach hurts so bad right now. I think I ate something last night that's not sitting with me, and now I have to drive to Townsend, Delaware for Tournament of Death 22. Wish me luck. There's a good chance that this is the entire video because I won't be up to making any more. Listen to my voice. That's not Scott. That's not good. That's not good at all. TOD 22, let's go! Ugh.
So as I stand here on my soapbox today, having watched Blood and Guts done by AEW, having actually just watched Full Gear by AEW, and here on the eve of War Games, Blood is on my mind. War Games is a match that I have lots of problems with, but this year at War Games, there needs to be blood. And it's not because of what AEW did. It's actually for two very simple reasons. So this is why WWE War Games needs blood. Number one, the stakes are not high enough. Now, if you're a fan of this channel and you've watched my backlog, you know that I have a lot of problems with War Games. I don't think the rules of War Games really work, especially WWE War Games. It used to be, when it was in the Dusty Rhodes era, that the only way to win was by making your opponents surrender. Not submit, not give up, surrender. Beating them so badly that they surrender their entire being and announce that you have defeated them. Now, once all members of both teams enter, it's pinfall or submission. Nothing says war like a schoolboy roll-up or a small package. And the idea of War Games isn't an appealing one to me. Like, it's supposed to be this big dangerous match, right? You got two rings, this giant cage, people are constantly throwing weapons in, and now you're facing off and you don't want to get pinned or you don't want to get submitted because you'll lose, and if you lose, well, you want to be the victors. You want to stand tall at the end of Survivor Series and have your hands raised as you stand by your team and celebrate that you've won. And what do you get? Like, if this match is supposed to be this dangerous, why would you want to be in it? Like, think about the other big matches in the WWE. Think about Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank every year is described as a car wreck. But people enter it willingly because of what's at the top of that ladder. At the top of that ladder is a golden ticket. At the top of that ladder is a fast pass to the main event, to the world title. It is the greatest gamble in professional wrestling to enter the Money in the Bank ladder match. But people do it willingly every year because of what that briefcase means. Think about the Elimination Chamber. They call it Satan's Playground. And you know what's never happened? Having 6 guys enter just to see who wins. No, it's always for a title, or at least an opportunity at a title. Because if it's going to be that brutal and that violent, you have to have a reason to want to fight to victory. And in War Games, it's not there. Now, I know it's been pitched by other pundits that the winning team of War Games should get the last 5 numbers in the Royal Rumble. And that works. But I'm not saying that there needs to be a prize. I'm not saying we should do the AEW thing and add more titles and things to be won. No, you can have a match that's just based on hatred. You can tell the story where you have 5 people who hate 5 other people and are just destined to destroy one another. They just want to do harm against that other team. There's just so much hatred. What's the word I'm looking for here? That they hate each other so much. They're blood rivals. If you're going to use War Games to tell the story that it is 2 teams that have such hatred for one another that the only way to solve it is to lock them inside 2 rings, then the level of violence they provide needs to be higher. And what a great way to show battle damage, to show that someone is getting revenge, than to bust them open. The fact that we never see blood in a WWE War Games match really hurts the story they're attempting to tell in having a match that doesn't really have a prize. It's just a match where 2 teams go in there and fight until one gets pinned or someone submits. But I am lying there. That's not the only way to win. I do have a problem with the fact that I gotta wait for everyone to get in and then it's either pinfall or submission, but there is a third way to win War Games. And that is if someone leaves the cage. If someone leaves the War Game structure, they surrender for their team. So you can't leave without losing the match. And they've kind of played with this in NXT. There's been some moments where they're like, hey, let's throw someone over the top of the cage to the floor. This way they'll surrender and we'll be victorious, which is stupid. Because if the whole point of the match is not really about winning and losing, and really about doing damage to people you hate, then getting a silly victory by kind of doing a loophole by throwing someone out of the cage shouldn't satisfy your reason for being in the match. But what if someone is beaten so badly that they need to leave the cage? They kind of played with this over in NXT, where Io had to reset, I believe it was Cora Jade's shoulder, so that she wouldn't leave and get medical attention, so that the match could continue. You could tell that story so much better and so much more effective if you did it with blood. Imagine this. Let's say Cody Rhodes starts a War Games match, and he's there in his father's match with his bleach blonde hair, and early in the match, boom, he gets busted wide open. Blood coming down his face, just staining the mat around him. And somehow, he is going to have to stay in that match for another 25, 30, 40, 45 minutes before the match can even end. Unless, of course, he leaves and surrenders. You could have this great story of the medical staff coming down and saying, Cody, you have to leave. You need stitches. You need medical attention. Brandy Rhodes banging on the side of the cage like, Cody, it's not worth it. Stop. Get out. And Cody Rhodes refusing as more and more enemies enter the War Games. The simple addition of blood raises the stakes and the integrity of this match. And the fact that WWE haven't done that is frustrating. And that brings me to my second point. Number 2, the stakes are too high. Yeah, really. Now stay with me. I'm going to make a believer out of you. I need you to do a little experiment with me. And I need you to actually do this experiment, okay? Don't just sit back and be like, he'll get to his point. No, really do this, okay? I want you to set your mind back to Survivor Series 2024. I want you to think back to those 2 War Games matches. If you need a reminder, it was the OG Bloodline versus the New Bloodline, and the team of Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Nia Jax, Candice LeRae, and Tiffany Stratton versus the team of Naomi, of Rhea Ripley with the mask because she had broken her nose earlier, of Bianca Belair, of Io Sky, and replacing Jade Cargill was Bayley. This is when Jade had gotten attacked and they were doing that storyline. That's where we are in the timeline, okay? Reflect on those 2 matches, and I want you to think of the top 5 moments from those matches. Not 5 from each, just 5 top moments from both of those matches. Don't go back and watch them. Just try to reflect on those 2 matches and think what pops up immediately. What are the big moments that you remember? Pause the video if you need a second. You can put them in the comments down below. I'll appreciate that. You don't have to. It'll please the algorithm, but you don't have to do that. Just really take a moment, pause the video, and come back when you have those 5 moments, okay? You ready? Okay. Here are my top 5 spots from that match. Number 1 is the Io Shirai trash can spot. That's just amazing. Number 2 is the tsunami off the top of the cage. Love that. Number 3 would be probably Tiffany Stratton's swanton off the top. That was really cool. Number 4 would be Jey Uso coming off and going through the table. Very cool. And then number 5 would probably be the riptide from the top rope through the table. Honorable mentions for me would probably be the botched moonsault that Jacob Fatu does, and also Roman's dive was pretty spectacular as well. Now, you're probably a little upset with me, and that's fine, because I kind of tricked you. I said to pick the top 5 moments from that match, and I gave you the top 5 spots of that match, and that's fine. It is okay that you chose a moment. There's a lot of great moments in those 2 matches. Maybe you thought of Tiffany Stratton teasing in the cash-in with the Money in the Bank. Maybe you thought of the moment where Roman stops Punk from walking out and sends Sami Uso down into the cage. Or maybe you thought of the moment where Punk blasts past Roman so he can enter and leaves Roman behind. That's a great moment. Maybe you thought of the Damage Control reunion, when Bayley and Io had this very interesting relationship where they were Damage Control and then they broke up, but now they're on the same team, and can they trust one another? That is a great moment. When it looks like Liv Morgan's going to run away and leave, and then she comes back with the baseball bat. That's a great moment. It is okay to pick those moments for your top 5. The point that I'm making is moments are not always spots, but spots are moments, and spots are dangerous. If your top 5 moments list didn't contain a lot of spots, then spots aren't as valuable as a wrestler might think as an important moment. And an important moment could simply be somebody bleeding. An image of someone covered in blood can do a lot. Ask Becky Lynch about it. So having that visual inside of War Games would be very impactful, and it's a moment we haven't seen before. As I went through those spots, I started with Io Sky jumping off with the trash can, a spot we've seen before in War Games. I talked about the spot where Tiffany Stratton does the Swanton. She did that before in an Elimination Chamber match. I talked about the Riptide, where Rhea Ripley puts Liv Morgan through a table off the top rope. That was the finish of this match, and the finish of a previous War Games. If we're really concerned with creating big moments, why are we reusing the same moments? It is so much easier to just do something like a little bit of blood. And finally, let's talk about those spots. When Bronson Reed jumped off the top of that cage and missed his tsunami and crashed through the table, it was one of the damnedest things I've ever seen. But it broke his ankle. We didn't see Bronson Reed for months. We had only just recently got him back when he joined the Vision, and now he finds himself back in the match that cost him a large chunk of his career. I really don't want to see him do it again. It's just too dangerous. The stakes are too high. Also in that match, Jimmy Uso jumped off the cage and went through the table and broke his toe in a spot you might not even remember happening. But Jimmy got injured by that. There was also the knee injury from Jacob Fatu. I know it could have been a work, but he was again going for a dive. All of these impressive spots tend to be dives. Like, no one really remembers, like, the chair shots, unless it's how weak Nia's looked, which I understand. Or the kendo sticks, or the trash can over the head, or beating over the head spots. The dive is what gets remembered, and those are very dangerous. And we can create a much safer moment like that. To think about Bronson Reed crashing through that table and then being in the situation where he knows that his ankle is broken, but he, for storyline reasons, cannot leave the cage because the match will end if he does, is way too dangerous of a situation to put anybody in. Like, you are going to ask the 20 individuals that are going to be in War Games this year to do something memorable. And a lot of them are going to look at the top of the cage and say, I can jump off that. And if that goes wrong, it goes really wrong. The stakes of doing something like that are just too high in this scenario. It would just be safer to do blood. And there you have it. The two reasons why WWE needs to do blood in War Games. The stakes are not high enough, and they are too high. They both exist. There's not enough to fight for, and it is far too dangerous. The stakes are not high enough and too high simultaneously. And a little bit of crimson can fix that. So what do you think? Do you think there needs to be blood in War Games? Are you a War Games defender? Please let me know, because I'm a cranky man who doesn't like them. But thank you so much for watching another edition of Plus 2 Wrestling. Hopefully, these will come out weekly, at least until the end of the year, because we have to do all the end of the year content. It's my favorite time to be a wrestling pundit YouTuber. Popping up on screen right now should be videos about how I don't like War Games, so if you liked this video, listen to me complain more by clicking one of those videos. And be sure to subscribe right here to Plus 2 Wrestling for more Scott Holiday content. And I hope you have a great day.